All right, everybody. I do not get to do this often, but I woke up at about 3:30 this morning and I couldn't fall back to sleep. So I said, "What the heck? Let's jump into the Modern Challenge and give this thing a go." So here I am, bright and early, to play Yawgmoth version 10 in the challenge. This list is nothing too crazy, pretty straightforward. Our 60 card main deck is what I've been running pretty consistently over the course of the last several months. So if you've been following my content, you know what we're doing here. I'll kind of point out the major points for any new viewers. Thank you for joining us. I'll kind of run through things real quickly. So in terms of our mana dorks, we're shaving a Birds of Paradise to make room for the 4th Wall of Roots. We have a Prosperous Innkeeper, which is kind of pretty stock card at this point, with the exception of Demonic Tutors. Everybody else seems to be running this. We have a Hapatra, 3 Eldritch Evolutions, and 2 Endurance in the main deck. So those are the kind of the cards that stand out that might be a little bit different than what some other people are playing. Our sideboard, like I said, nothing fancy here, pretty straightforward. The 2 cards that are a little bit different than what I normally run or have been running recently. Shieldred's back in the sideboard just because of how popular Rhinos is. I wanted to have a big fat butt to block a 4/4, and then also an Engineered Explosive once again for Rhinos and for Creativity. Those are the 2 matchups in particular where I am thinking about and the reasons why I have that card in my sideboard. Everything else, what you've come to expect of me. Suite of 3 Force of Vigor, 2 Endurance, 1 Veil of Summer, 1 Haywire Might, a Necromentia, 2 removal spells, and 3 Thoughtseize. We're going to jump into this challenge, and hopefully we can do well here. So come join me, and let's see how this goes. All right, what is up, everybody? It's very, very early here, so I'm going to be at a lower tone than I normally am to record our challenge here. We're playing against TheBigMoke. This is round 1. We are on the play. Yawg version 10.0. Let's go. Opening 7. This is a 1-lander, but because we have so many mana dorks, I think we're going to keep this one. Our opponent kept their 7-card hand. We're going to lead off on a Birds of Paradise and pass the turn. We are hoping we are not playing against a Fury deck here. We'll yield through the turn. See what TheBigMoke is doing. Stomping Ground, Bird. Okay. Into Grazier. Okay, so this is going to be Bring to Light. We draw into an Endurance. We're going to play out 2 more dorks. This can be a challenging matchup. Definitely more so on the draw than the play, but it can be tough. They can kill fairly quickly. They also have Fire Ice. Okay, there's a Bolt. Let's see if this is a Fire Ice. It is. This is brutal. Oh, Ren 6. Okay. Yeah, that's a tough one. All right, drew into our land. So from here, I think we get our grist down. I think I'm actually going to uptick here, and then next turn I'm going to shoot down this Ren 6. Okay, they minus there. That's fine. Valak hit. All right, so we don't need to shoot down this Ren 6 now. We'll have an attack to be able to kill it. So we'll play out our Geist. We'll swing both into the Ren 6, and we'll plus the grist. Plus our grist, and we'll pass the turn. So if we can draw into a Court of Calling, we'll actually have Yawgmoth next turn. Okay, second Ren 6, sure. So I'm hesitating here because we have Endurance, and I think I'm actually going to cut them off of this here. Could get punished if they have another land drop in hand, but we'll see. We'll see if they actually do. Okay, no more land, so that's going to pay dividends for us. Another Geist. That's actually a really good draw. Okay, so I'm going to sacrifice a Geist. We're going to shoot down the Ren 6, and we're just going to start getting really aggressive. I guess they showed us they didn't have any more land, so maybe I didn't even need to do that, but they're going to take a hit for 5 here, I would imagine. Now, if they have a Bring to Light, they can go, if they have another land, they can go Bring to Light into Supreme Verdict. We'll see if they have that line available to them. This might be a Bolt on our grist. No, not a Bolt. Interesting. Okay. I wasn't expecting that one. Was not. Okay, and they scooped We did have Yawg that turn, so that is good for us. Alright, so we're definitely bringing in Thoughtseizes. Haywire Might's actually pretty bad in this matchup because they do have Dryad, so we can't hit that. And bring in our Necromentia. We also saw Days. I don't know if Shieldred works with Days Undoing. I don't think it actually does. I'm thinking about actually bringing these into. Maybe just bring in the push. No, I think I'll just bring in the push. Shieldred's interesting. On the draw, I don't think I'm going to bring it in. I don't know if I'm actually going to do 2 Force of Vigor or just 1. I'm going to shave a Chord of Calling, an Endurance, a Grist. Grist is super slow. This matchup can be fast. We're going to shave Young Wolves as well. And they do hit down our Dorks, so we're going to shave on 2 of those. I think I only like 1 Force of Vigor. I'll bring back in... Go for the Throat. Let's go with this. Okay, the mulligan is 6. I don't love this hand, but I think I'm going to keep it. Like, we have a piece of interaction for their Dryad, and we curve out pretty nice. We're on the draw too, so we'll have an extra draw to find something. They mulligan to 6. They keep their 6-card hand. Foothills pass. They have 5 in hand. Basic, not terrible. Preserve some life here. I know if they have a run in 6. We'll see if they do or not. Okay, so this feels like a run in 6, which we'll be able to swing down with the Geist. That's what I'm projecting right now. Yep. Minus. Okay, so this is really good for us. So if they don't have another land drop, or they're depending on this, that's going to be excellent for us. We drew into a Yawgmoth, also really good. Geist, the Renin 6 killer. Renin 6 down. We drew into a Yawg that turn, so next turn we'll go Wall of Roots and have Beseiju up, and then we'll cast Yawg on the following turn. Okay, they have a second Ren. A little unfortunate. Maybe we'll draw a second Geist. Wooded Foothills. Okay, so I am going to attack into this Ren. I'm going to go Wall of Roots into Birds of Paradise here. I know if they want to shoot down this bird, the Ren will be dead again, and they only got 1 land. I think they need this land, so I don't think they're going to be in a position to do that necessarily. And they won't have double white to Supreme Verdict either, of note. Not this turn at least, so we'll see what they do. Okay, so that's kind of what we wanted. 1, 2, 3. Narset. This is a really weird build. And they don't minus the Narset, so to me that says... So they probably have Days Undoing. Okay, so I'm going to play this like this. They got our Yawg. We're going to attack into the Ren here. They are going to get a draw 7, I think. But we will be able to kill the Narset next turn. And then we can go from there. I guess if they have a Lightning Bolt, though, they'll cut us off of killing it. Okay, they didn't have another land. Here's the Days Undoing. Yep. We're going to fetch Dryad Arbor. We only draw 1 here. Pretty crappy. And I wonder... So I think I'm going to knock out this Valakut here and now. See if they get an untapped land or not. They might. They don't. Okay. Yeah, drawing 1. Doesn't feel great. Okay, so I minus on the Grazer. Add a mana with Wall. The mana's not going to matter. Sacrifice target. Okay. I guess the mana would matter. That was a mistake. We'll discard a basic here. They might not actually have Bring to Light, which is of note. Just the way their mana base, this looks like it might be straight rug. Alright, hope is we draw into a Young Wolf for another Geist here. Peatland, not great. Necromentia. Okay. I'll draw a card with this Peatland. Wall of Roots. Okay. Yeah, so we'll work with it. So this could be a situation where they go something like Narset and then bolt down our Geist. Dryad. Okay. Land. Okay, we'll yield. We're probably going to Necromentia naming Valakut. We'll see if they... It's possible they might have a, what do you call it? Veil of Summer. So I think we start with... I think it's likely they have a Veil of Summer, but I think we have to fire this off. They hesitated there for a second, which to me says they have some piece of interaction. They don't. Oh, wow. Okay, and they have bolt iteration. Let's see what the rest of their deck looks like. We're going to screenshot this. Seismic Assault, Scapeshift. One more Day's Undoing. Okay, I think we can beat this. So they can double bolt our Yawg, which will be unfortunate. Sarcastic Iteration to start with. There are no Veil of Summers in the deck. That's kind of crazy. They have Fury in the deck. So they got Scalding Tarn off of the Iteration. Another land. So they drew that. 1, 2, 3, second Dryad. Sure. Kind of weird they're not bolting. Okay. Endurance not terrible here. I think I'm going to start by adding a mana with this Wall of Roots. I'm going to sacrifice targeting one of the Dryads. We can't target our Geist. Okay, that kind of makes things easy for us. Kill both of those. And we'll swing for 5. I think we have perfect information here with regards to their hands, so... Bolt, Steam Vents, Triome. They're going to cycle the Triome, sure. They don't really have a combo kill from here, so... They fetch, they're down at 12. We're going to be using this Endurance to shuffle our own graveyard. Honestly, very surprised they didn't double Lightning Bolt us. So if we untap, we have a little trickery available to us. We can Endurance ourselves, fetch for our Dryad Arbor. Drawing into Yawgmoth gives us another resource if they do kill the one we have, which is nice. It's kind of crazy they're just letting us do this. I guess they might be holding off on the bolts to try to just dome us. Dryad, sure. Boltgeist in response. Okay, so that takes them off of that. I have 3 cards in hand. Grist, not bad. So I don't have lethal with Grist this turn. So we're going to attack with these 2, I think. And the reason I'm going with these 2, if they block the Dryad, I'm going to hit their Dryad. We're down to 6, so we are in double bolt territory now. All the Roots. And we're going to play out our Grist. And so if they draw another bolt, we lose. They have 4 cards. I believe they only have 1 more bolt in the deck, and they scooped. We're 1-0. Alright, we are back. Match 2 of our Modern Challenge, playing against AlexsanderRosdahl. We are going to be on the play. Currently 1-0. And we have pulled ourselves another 1-lander. Last game I had multiple 1-mana dorks. This hand I only have 1, and a Pete land, which is going to deal me a lot of damage. I think I have to ship this, unfortunately. And we like this better. This one we can keep. And I think we probably get rid of the Chord of Calling. Yeah, I like the Chord, but I think that's the card to get rid of. Our opponent mulligan to 6 as well. Alright, let's kick things off with Besage You into Hierarch. Hopefully the Hierarch survives, and the next turn we can double spell and then cast a Yawg on the following turn. Let's see what Alexander's doing. Alright, Triumph. So this to me, right off the bat, says Domain. That was a good draw. So Wall of Roots here. Heath. I'm gonna fetch. Take 2. I'm gonna get my Innkeeper out. I think I'm actually gonna save this treasure token. Just in case one of our dorks dies, it will still give me Yawgmoth next turn. Pretty good for a Molda 6. Not too shabby. And if we can pull another wolf, we'll be in really good shape. Alright, they play land and pass. A little strange. Another Wall of Roots. So I'm going to lead with an attack for 2. See if they do anything here. They could have something like a Remand up, which would be annoying. Okay, that sticks. We're going to play out our wolf here. They fetch. So this might be a, okay, a binding, sure. We did lose one of our Besages here. We're going to sacrifice the Innkeeper. We found ourselves a Hapatra. Not really what we're looking for. But yeah, I think we kind of have to let this go. Sequencing wise, might have been better to play out the wolf first. Probably better to play out the wolf first. I was thinking about Tribal Flames, I wasn't thinking about binding. Okay, imagine we're going to see a big creature on this turn. They fetch Basic Mountain into Fable. Okay, that's not too scary. That one we can deal with. Evo. Evo is really good. So I think we start with an attack for 2. Evo the wall. Or no, I think that might be greedy. So I can go wall into Evo wall, but then I won't be able to get Hapatra out. So I think we're gonna go this line. Like Hapatra is my trump card here, so we're gonna try to use that. Okay, that's really good. We'll draw one more card here. Okay. From here, I'm gonna pass the turn. Pretty close to just a kill from here. I just need to find a Court of Calling. Maybe I should have drawn a couple more cards. Double Tribal Flames is definitely a thing. I discard a Fable and a Wren. So this might just be like 5-color creativity. That's kind of what this is feeling like. This is an Omnath. Oh no, this is a Prismatic, okay. They have 3 cards in hand, and they played out a land for turn. Okay, we're gonna draw at least a few more cards here. Grist is good. Cancel. Okay, another Evo. Good. Alright, we'll let this happen. Alright, so I think I want to get Yawg down again. So I think I'm going to be swinging for 4 and putting a counter on the Yawgmoth to start with. I'm going to fetch basic swamp. We'll play out our Wall of Roots, and then I'm going to Evo the Wall of Roots into another Yawgmoth. Alright, so we have lethal next turn, depending on what they do. They have 3 cards in hand. Let's see if they have another answer for Yawg or not. Okay, they scoop. Game 3. Game 2, not game 3. I don't completely know what they're doing. It kind of feels like creativity. We did see a bunch of enchantments. Should I hedge and bring in EE or not? I'm going to bring in the Might as well. I'm going to hedge towards creativity, although I'm not 100% sure that's what this is. I'm going to board out a Cord. I'm going to board out a Grist. No, I want Grist. I'm going to board out the Innkeeper. We did see Wren in 6, which they pitched. Board out a Yawgmoth. Board out some birds. I'm going to board out 2 Yawgmoth, I think, and 2 birds. And go with this. If they're on creativity, game 3, I'll be bringing Necromentia. We'll go with this. Alright, we're mulliganing a lot. They mulliganed as well. This is too slow. This 6. Ugh. They keep a 6. I think we're going to have to go down to 5 here, unfortunately. So we get rid of a Yawg Hierarch. We just need like land into land for this to really do anything. We're going to go down to 5. And this one I can keep. I like this much better. We're going to keep 2 lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5. Get rid of Force of Vigor and Endurance. Go with this. They're on a 6-card hand. Imagine this Hierarch's going to die. Not a bad draw. And I guess do I play around Wren in 6 here or not? I think I actually will. I'm going to play the Yawgmoth. Invalidate a Bolt if they have it. Invalidate Wren in 6. And then just go Bloodstained Mire pass. Interesting. Yeah, not 100% clear to me what they're doing as of right now. I'm going to lead with a fetch here. I'll play out my Wall of Roots into the Hierarch, and then I'll be attacking. Wall of Roots was a good draw. Doing this pre-combat because it gets me an extra point of damage with the Yawgmoth. As long as it gets through, it does. Okay. Cool, we're cruising. Shaping up pretty well for a 5-card hand. Hierarch gets bolted, they fetch with the Bloodstained Mire. They have Domain now. There's a Fable, okay. So this leaves us open for a turn with Yawgmoth, so we're gonna take this opportunity and run with it. Geist, okay, Geist doesn't really do too much. There's our Yawg. We'll knock down this Fable token here. Beseiju actually pretty good. Okay, with that, did I play a land for turn? I did, I played the Peat land. Alright, I think we're actually gonna hold off here. I have to Beseiju up if they have a Leyline Binding, so I think we're gonna wait. We'll see what they do. Feels like we're pretty far ahead right now. Discard Teferi and Fire Ice. Cool. White. Binding. Sure, Binding is going to go on the stack, and I'm going to knock it out with the Beseiju here. See if they have another one. Okay, so this is creativity. Of note. Okay. I think I have to knock down this Shaman right now. because we can't give them an extra mana. I guess I could have given them an extra mana. I didn't have to do this, so this is a mistake. If they have a bolt now, that will take me off of... Yeah, that was a mistake. Okay, well, we'll be able to deal with it next turn. Another Yawg, pretty good. I'm not getting punished for this. They only have one card in hand. I think we're pretty far ahead at this point. Cord is really good, too. They're hesitating in my draw step. I wonder if they have an ice. Yes, Wall of Roots into Geist. Really, really good. I'm going to dump this down now, and then I'll Cord. Okay, that's a really good draw too, so that represents Hapatra. So I'm not going to attack here. Okay, and they cycle, so they have absolutely nothing. I guess I could have fetched Dried Arbor there. That would have been reasonable. We're at 13. They play land for turn, and nothing. I'm going to fetch here. I'm going to get Dried Arbor. Binding. Okay, we'll let that happen. Good draw for them. Done. Let me get Haywire Might. Sure. Take my Yawg. I guess I didn't even really need to get Might, but really not a big deal here. Alright, so I'll Might down this Binding. Gain 2. We're going to draw a bunch of cards here. Grist, not bad. Court of Calling, pretty good. Okay, so from here, I think I'm going to go and get Blood Artist. 1, 2, 3. I guess I can just get Hapatra here. Makes it real easy. No, I'm getting sloppy here. It's supposed to fetch first. I'm actually supposed to fetch for a swamp. And then we'll Cord. Done. And I'll get Hapatra. Okay, our opponent's pretty close to dead from here. That also gives us quite a bit of insurance. Okay, and they scoop. We're 2-0. Alright, we are jumping back in. This is round 3 of our Modern Challenge, currently 2-0. Playing against yulinil. We're on the play. Let's go. Alright, we don't have to mulligan. This is nice. We see a Gigantha on the other side. We're going to definitely keep this 7. I am fond of this hand. This hand does stuff. Opponent mulligans to 6. Alright, they keep their 6. Let's get after it. We're going to lead on our Yawgmoth. We're going to preserve our life total here. Play out our bird. Pass the turn. Alright, opponent. Let's see what you're doing. I imagine our bird's going to get bolted here, if I had to guess. Lead on a Flooded Strand. Fetch. Shock. Dead. Dead bird. Okay, so I'm guessing this is probably Breach. That would be my guess. I'm going to play out the Verdant here. I don't need to fetch as of right now, so we're not going to. Wall of Roots into Yawgmoth. We're 2 turns off of Yawgmoth right now. Next turn we'll have our Geist, and then we can get Yawg the turn after that and go crazy. So we're looking at like a turn 4 win potentially, depending on what they're doing. Depending on their interaction. Paying costs, Ragavan, sure. Ragavan away. Moving back to our turn. Grist is pretty good. So I can... Grist is the mana efficient play, so I can play out Grist. I think I'd do that. I'll shock down to 18 here. Play out our Grist. I'm just gonna plus Grist. I'm not worried about this Ragavan, so we don't need to kill it. This lets me play around Spell Pierce next turn too if they do have a point of interaction. They'll fetch down to 16. Steam Vents number 2. Consider. I mean, so they're playing it like it's Murktide, but they have Gigantha, so I'm not sure that that's possible. It's a little strange. Iteration, okay. Yeah, I mean, this feels like Murktide. I wonder if they just don't have Murktides in the deck, which would be really weird. A Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. So we drew a Geist. So I'll start with a plus on our Grist. I'll play out a Geist. And I'm just going to hold back here, just because I want to cast this Court of Calling, so if they fetch here, we're going to use this. Alright, sorry friend. If you'll excuse me, I would like to get a Yawgmoth. And they scooped. We're up a game. So Murktideless Murktide, is that what we're playing against? We're going to bring in our Endurances, or go for the Throat. I think our Veil of Summer and a Thoughtseize. I think we're okay with that. I'm actually going to shave the Blood Artist here. This could be Breach. It could just be like Breach with Consider. But I'm going to play it like it's... Yeah, it feels like it's probably Breach. In which case I should have the Haywire Might. Not the Thoughtseize. And not the Veil. It's gotta be Breach, right? It's gotta be. And if it is Breach, do I want Shieldred? I think I'm just gonna go with these 5 for now. What's good against Breach? We're gonna shave some Hierarchs. Shave an Evo. And we'll go with this. If it turns out this isn't Breach and it is in fact Murktide, we'll change our sideboard strategy for game 3. But as it stands, thinking Breach. Okay, we'll keep this. We don't really want the Might in our hand, but what are you gonna do? Okay, Ragavan, sure. We have the answer to that one. Alright, lead on our Cradle again, play out our Yawgmoth, go for the Throat, not a bad draw. So if they play out a Shredder turn 2, we'll be able to handle it. They play out a Forest, they fetch. Hallowed Moonlight. Alright, so they have a prismatic ending here is what they're showing us. Sure. So we'll take a hit off this Ragavan. They will get a card from us. And they get a Wall of Roots. Let's see if they cast it out. And they are. Okay. Oh, Shredder. Okay. Shredder has entered the battlefield. Okay, so from here, I'm actually gonna... I was planning on go for the Throat, but I'm actually gonna cast out this Geist. I think I like that better. If they have another prismatic ending, they'll get us, but if not, we'll be okay. Let's see if they've got another one. I like the way our hand looks right now, though. I think it's a pretty good conglomeration of cards against what they're doing. I would like to have an Endurance at some point, but for now, I think this is pretty decent. Either Gust. Ugh. Red or green puts on top or bottom. So if I put it on top, they'll hit it with the Ragavan. So I think I'm going to put it on top. Just because it makes it so I know what they're doing here. They will get a treasure token. It's kind of annoying. Not a card I was really expecting. Okay, they don't have another land drop, which is good for us. Wall of Roots is actually great. So we can Wall of Roots into Haywire Might and still have up our Go for the Throat as well. But at the same time, we will trigger the Shredder, so they will get a loot off that. So I wonder if we don't do that. I wonder if we just like plus Grist. I think I'm going to give them a loot here, unfortunately. I think that's what we have to do. Okay, discard a Shredder. So their Shredder's currently at 2-4. They have 4 cards in hand. This feels like another prismatic ending. Another Shredder. Okay. Bobble. Okay, so some pretty good card advantage here. Not card advantage, but card selection is what I meant to say. So it's going to trigger their Connive twice. They get rid of a land, which is interesting because they didn't have a land drop last turn. So for us, we're actually in an interesting situation where we can chord end of turn for a Yawgmoth if we choose not to go for the Throat. So they discard 2 lands. Very interesting. I think I'm going to kill this Shredder here and now. Okay, and I will block this Ragavan. If they want to spend a Lightning Bolt on it, I'm fine with that. Get our basic Swamp. Produces both colors of mana. This is a Bayou at this point. Go for the Throat this Shredder. Okay, Bolt, we're fine with that. If that's how they want to use their resources, be my guest. They only have 1 card in hand, 2 mana. They'll have a second card with the Bobble here. So they'll know what we're drawing here. And I suppose if they can go like land... Alright, Geist isn't terrible. So I think I just play out the Geist here. I want to leave a mana up for this Might just in case they do have a Breach. Just because Breach represents like draw 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's at least a draw 3. Which I would not be thrilled about. So I don't want to allow that. And you'll see the way I tap my mana. I'm hoping my opponent forgets about the Yavimaya and tries to play out a Breach. Okay, an iteration, so no Breach this turn. Opponent plays out a Bobble. We want to hit another land. That's like what we're looking for at this point. They dump a Ragavan, or an Endurance would be nice. But I guess Chord, if we find ourselves a land, that will get us Endurance with this Chord, which will be really important. Okay, take a hit for 2, we're going in 12. Alright, land drop 1 time. They're going to draw a card from their Bobble, go up to 3 cards in hand. Alright, that's a good one. And I think I'm just going to fire that off now, just because I know I can stick it. And I don't have to worry about Breach this turn now. They consider, sure. They put a card on top. Dragon's Rage, sure. Okay, so that's going to fill up their graveyard pretty quickly. Another iteration, sure. Land into the graveyard, 3 card types. There's the land. Okay, no attacks. That tells me they don't have a Lightning Bolt turn and Holy Heat, which is good for us. Evo. Alright, so we can Evo the Geist and get ourselves a Yawg. Leaves us open for a Breach, but I think this is fine. Unfortunately, we can't Chord from here. That would be nice if we could. I suppose I could sacrifice the Might from this point and kill the Dragon's Rage. Maybe that's the move. Okay, and that's a really good draw. That's a really good draw for a lot of reasons. So that gets us, that cuts off their graveyard, and it gets us an extra mana for Chord of Calling. So that might just put us in a position to win the game from here. So they're gonna fetch, and I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna discard Wall of Roots. They'll connive off the Shredder, which is fine, because we're just gonna shuffle it all back in. We're gonna target them with this on the stack. I'm gonna Chord of Calling. We're gonna get a Yawgmoth, and then I'm gonna kill this. There's another Yawg, and then we'll kill this Ragavan. The reason we're doing this now is because it's gonna shuffle the Ragavan back in as well. All right, another Evo. So we have the win next turn. There goes the graveyard. All right, Steam Vent's tapped. Let's see what you got. All right, Bobble to start with. I have to imagine they have 1 Breach in their hand at least, but they need quite a few cards in their graveyard to make that actually worthwhile. Another iteration. Yep, sure. So they're working their way up to being able to deal with this Yawgmoth. There goes the Breach that we thought about. We knew about. And now they need a fetch land. We'll see if they hit one. Nope, no fetch land. So they'll be short to be able to kill this Yawg. If they have an Aether Gust, that's going to put a little bit of a wrench in our plans, but otherwise, I think we're okay with this. If they have Double Bolt, they'll kill us as well. So hopefully not. Double Bolt. Dress down, sure. Okay, so we have the win here. This doesn't accomplish anything. Okay, so actually, did I board out Blood Artist? I think I did. Yeah, I boarded out the Blood Artist, unfortunately. So we don't have the win, but we can draw our whole deck, but I don't know if that's good enough. So I think what we have to do, I think we attack with everybody to start with, and then we're going to sacrifice Endurance. We'll kill this Shredder. Now if they have like Breach and Bolt, we'll lose from here. So hopefully they don't have Breach and Bolt. Another iteration. I feel like this is the 6th iteration they've cast this game. Whew, what a grind, right? What a grind. There's a mountain. Sure, you can have a mountain. 5 cards in hand. 4 card types. Bolt. Targeting me. I'm down to 3. You have another one? Yes, you do. Okay. We'll concede. Yeah, so boarding out the Blood Artist there cost us that game. We had it otherwise. Alright. We're bringing the Blood Artist back in. We saw Aether Gust. I don't really care about that though. Otherwise, I think we're pretty good here. I'm going to board out a Yawgmoth on the draw. Or on the play. We're on the play game 3. Play first. Opening 7. I like this hand. We will keep this. They keep their 7. We don't have a turn 1 play. And we do have Dryad Arbor in our hand, but everything else is really solid, so I think we're pretty happy with this hand. Endurance is so good in this matchup. Nothing. Okay, and that's really good for us as well, the fact they didn't have anything there. Drawing into Geist is really good as well. So next turn we have our Grist or our Endurance, potentially even our Yawg. Okay, so they're going to ending this down, so we will not have those options. If we draw into a land, we'll be able to get our Grist into play. Bolt. Sure, they're going to double bolt it. We're cool with that. By all means, they have 5 cards in hand. If we draw a land, that would be great. And there's our land. Play out our Grist, plus our Grist. Pass the turn. So far, so good. We might even just hold this Dryad Arbor just because it represents a card to pitch with Endurance, so I might not even play that out. That exchange, that 2-for-1 for that Wall of Roots, I am very pleased with that. We'll see if they have an ending here for the Grist. They don't. Teferi. Teferi bounce the Grist, will swing down. Okay, that's fine. We're okay with that exchange. Do need to kill this Teferi though. This Teferi takes us off of endurance. I suppose I could wait one turn. Is that worth it? Plus Grist, play out Yawgmoth. And like, are we at risk for dying there? I don't think so. So I think we'll stick our Yawg and then we'll get Teferi off the board next turn. Alright, you have the green light to do what you want. See if they take advantage here. Iteration. So to me that says you will not be taking advantage. They need like Bobble and Heat in this situation. And they'll be able to kill my Yawg if they do. Consider, okay. Casting the Consider. Put Breach into the graveyard. Play a land out. So this gives them the mana for Heat. So they will be able to heat down my Yawg. We'll draw a card if they do. There it is. We have 5 cards in hand. There's Blood Artist. Where were you last game when we needed you? Okay, there's another Grist. So we're going to lead on the Geist here. We're going to swing in, kill this Teferi. Plus, Yawgmoth goes to the graveyard. So I'm actually not going to play out this Dryad Arbor. The reason being is because if they cast a Breach and they have an Aether Gust, they can put my Endurance back to the top, and I might be forced into crashing the Peatland to recast the Endurance. So that's also why I'm not playing out this Blood Artist. I don't think I'll need to do that, but it is a possibility. They have 6 cards in hand. And there's the Breach. Okay, so we're gonna hit down their graveyard. And this is pretty much just a dead card at this point. Alright, iteration, sure. I think I will be drawing a card off this Peatland end of turn, just because I don't really have a good use for my mana. They're fetching, they shock, and a Dragon's Rage, sure. So Breach is gonna go away. I'm gonna draw a card here. Hapatra, not bad. So I think I'm going to play out the Bird, play out the Blood Artist, minus the Grist. Do I minus the Grist? It puts a 4th card type into their graveyard. They have 4 cards in hand. I'm just concerned about this Dragon's Rage if they do have another Breach. I think I do minus the Grist here. I think I'll probably play out the Hapatra instead of the Blood Artist. So I'll start with a minus. If they play something like Fury in their deck, they'll get us, but I think if they do have it, it's like probably a 1-of or something like that. Alright, so we're 2 turns off the kill. We'll see if this is good enough. Yeah, not having that Blood Artist in our deck last game was brutal. We have 4 card types, 5 cards in hand. Feels close. Feels very close. Shredder, sure. Dragon's Rage, sure. So best case scenario for us is if we draw into a land. And if we do, we might even just have lethal at that point. Yeah, if we draw into a land, we'll probably have lethal. As long as they don't have an Aether Gust. Another Grist. Another Grist. I don't know if that's what I want. So I can minus Grist, kill the Dragon's Rage. But then if they have a Breach next turn, that gets really crazy. I think I have to kill the Shredder and attack. Save targets. Kill the Shredder. Yeah, if they have a Breach, they're going to go absolutely nuts on their turn. Swing for 3 here. Alright, 6 life. Alright, iteration. Sure. Lightning Bolt. If they Lightning Bolt down the Grist, I think we're okay with that. I want them to think that this Grist is important. Another Dragon's Rage, sure. They're targeting Blood Artist, interesting. So from here, our best draw is going to be an Endurance. That's really what we want to find at this point. They're down to 4. Be able to put them down to 2 as long as they don't have another Bolt in hand. Heat on the Hapatra, that's unfortunate. Alright, Endurance, 1 time. Birds of Paradise, not an Endurance. Okay. And they have 1 card in hand. It doesn't feel good. So I think I Grist plus, and then Grist plus. And just try to beat them through combat. Oh, we double hit there too. Nice. Nice. So we draw into like a Geist here. We'll have the win. Okay, Teferi, sure. Bobble into the graveyard. This is a very close game. Hearse into the graveyard. They have one card in hand. They bounce a token, sure. They have to attack with both of these. They'll attack into our Grist. Grist down. Alright. Geist is lethal. Let's see if this does it. You have an Aether Gust. They do. There it is. Okay. Whew, they get to look at 2 cards. And they put a card on top. So that means there's a Breach on top. That means there's a Breach on top, which means we're going to lose. I'm going to bottom this. Attack Teferi, attack them. We'll play out our bird. Alright, we're getting breached. This is unfortunate. Oh, iteration, not a breach. Okay, okay. So you're saying there's a chance. Island in the graveyard. And leave a card on top. We only have one card in hand, so they know we don't have a... They know we don't have an Endurance. Endurance is the trump card, though. That's what gets us there. Yawg would be pretty good here, too. Another Grist. Grist's a plenty. And I think we're going to minus this Grist. They have 2 cards in hand. Let's see if these get through. They do. They're at 1 life. They consider so much card selection. Ugh. I hope they whiff. I really hope they whiff. They kept a card on top. No, they put a bunch of cards in their graveyard. Never mind. Yield through turn. I can't imagine. Prismatic ending on an insect. That's kind of crazy. Card on top. They have to attack. Attack me, I'm down to 10. Do I just win with this insect? That's actually a pretty good draw. Does this insect just swing for lethal right now? This is so crazy. Wow. Wow. Throw. I didn't think we were winning that one. We got lucky. Alright, we are jumping back in round 4, Modern Challenge. Currently 3-0. We're cranking right now. Playing against Tony Jones, 22. They begin with a 7 card hand. They are on the play. We'll keep our mediocre 7. Got some redraws with these peatlands. We have the Ragavan Stopper turn 1. Tony Jones leads on a Misty into a Stomping Ground, into a Footfalls. Okay. Okay, Tony. We're doing it like this, huh? Play out my Yawgmoth. Tony's probably happy to see that. Let's see if we can beat some rhinos today. Crash some rhinos. Crash their party. Okay, didn't tap my land. So from here, I think we're gonna shock. We'll play out our Geist, and we'll start beating down. If they have something like Fire Ice, it would be really suspect that they didn't cast it. This feels like a Brazen Borrower to me. Potentially a Stomp as well. Borrower, yeah. The tempo of all tempo plays. We'll swing for 1. See if these rhinos come down. Okay, so Brazen Borrow is in exile. Do they have a 3rd land drop? If they don't, that would be wonderful. They're hesitating. They do. Here come some rhinos. A crash of rhinos, if you may. Yes, this is going to be tough to beat. It's going to be a little tricky. Okay, Evo. Evo, not terrible. So take a hit for 10, go down to 8. Or I could flash an Endurance, double block 1, go down 6, and then Grist down another 1 next turn, and then Evo Geist the following turn. Maybe that's the line we take, as long as they don't have more rhinos on top of this. Or a removal spell as well also kind of takes us off this line, but I think that might be the way that we have to win this game. As per usual, just kind of hope they have nothing. These peatlands are going to be dealing us damage too, which is unfortunate. Okay, basic forest. Play our Endurance. I mean, they have to know we have something, right? Because they bounced the Geist and we didn't replay it, so they know we're up to no good. I would like to double block, please. Oh. They might just let me have this, like, the thought process might just be, you're not really doing anything too scary, so... Alright, more rhinos. Alright, we're super dead. We're not winning this one. There is nothing we can do to stop all of this. They have another set of rhinos coming down next turn. This is going to hit both of our creatures. We'll take it for 6. Like in a situation like this, you're just trying to keep your head afloat. They have 2 cards in hand. We're at 9 life. Okay, let's move to game 2. Not winning that one. Tony had the perfect draw against what we're trying to do. It did not seem that they are on a 5 color build, so we don't need our Force of Vigors. So I think we board these 6 cards, and we will board out. Definitely Shaving on Birds and Young Wolves. Young Wolf, not so good. EE, Necro, Shieldred. Grist, not overly impressed by the card in this matchup. Same with Endurance. Same with Evo. I don't really love Evo in this matchup either because they have Force Negation, but I think we're going to keep the Evos in, just board like this. Let's see if we can get it done against what is supposed to be our worst matchup. Okay, I don't hate this 7. We'll keep this. Hope here is that our Hierarch survives turn 1. Then turn 2 we can go Geist and Thoughtseize. And turn 3 can really turn on the pressure. Okay, Basic Forest, I like that. I like that. So that gives us Grist next turn. I wonder if I just go Grist this turn. I think I probably just get Grist into play this turn, right? I'm going to shock here. The reason I'm shocking here is because of the double Geists in my hand. Evo, we would have liked that one. Now, if there's something like Fury, that would be unfortunate, but you know, you win some, you lose some. Okay, we draw. That's a pretty good draw. So I'm going to lead Geist. I'm going to swing. And we're going to take a look and see what they're working with. Plus, Thoughtseize. Oh, we almost misclicked there. We'll take the Outburst. Alright, so this is a very winnable game for us. Very, very winnable. You know about Rhinos in Exile. See if the Thoughtseize bug rears its ugly head. Even if it does, we still are, I think we're pretty far ahead. Alright, Rhinos tick down to 2. Scalding Tarn, sure. We're just naturally drawn to a Yawg, which is pretty good. Plus our Grist. We're going to fetch a basic here. And we can chord for a Hapatra. We can also chord for a Blood Artist. So almost regardless of what they do from this point, kind of got it locked down. I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to pass. They drew it. Endurance. And they're shuffling my graveyard. Okay. From here, I think I'm going to get a Hapatra. Because I know they don't have a blue card in hand. So we can actually almost kill from here. Okay, they Endurance, they exile what? Another Endurance? Sure. I'm not sure they understand how Hapatra works. Okay, so that's the win next turn. So we're gonna wait. We know their hand at this point. Minus whatever they draw for turn, but it's not gonna matter. The only card that could possibly matter at this point is a Fury, but they can't even cast it. Okay. Oh my god. That's a good top deck. That's so crazy. Grist. That is so crazy. Alright. Fine. Still have Footfalls next turn. We're gonna get a Shieldred in 2 turns though. Alright, Wall of Roots is good. I kinda wish I had a what do you call it? A Yavimaya right now. To Geist. Swing for 4. Brotherhood's End, I've never actually seen that out of their deck, but that was like the perfect top deck. I honestly thought we couldn't lose from the point we were at, but I guess we could. And now I guess if they have a Fury, they can do stuff. They have Footfalls, and we know about Beseiju in hand. Yep, you got some Rhinos. Do you draw Fury? They do not. Okay, that's going to be game. Okay, so from here, what's the line? Probably just get Blood Artist, right? I haven't done the math here, but I'm assuming Blood Artist gets the job done. I can also just get Shieldred, which would just start gaining me a ton of life. Let me just do the math. So Blood Artist -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Yeah, Blood Artist is lethal. I actually tapped my mana incorrectly too. I should have left this black mana up. The reason being is for Proliferate. Would have saved me a point of life. Shieldred, nice to see you. I'm not going to show them this Shieldred, they don't know about it, so it's not really something I need to do. Okay, that just makes it real easy. Alright, going to game 3. Game 3 against the most feared deck in all of the land. The smashiest of Rhinos. Okay, Brotherhood's End, good one to know about. On the draw. I feel like I might just need like something to buy me some time. It doesn't feel good pushing a Rhino, but I might need to. I feel like Shaving Endurance I'm just going to try to buy as much time as possible here. It is a 2-for-1, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeesh. Our opponent keeps a 7. We can't keep this. Nor can we keep this. It's not looking good, everybody. Alright, keep. 5 cards. Ship a land. Ship a grist in a land. Land an innkeeper, I guess. I think that's kind of a toss-up, which one you keep, which one you send back. If we draw a 1-drop here, that would be ideal. Not a 1-drop. Alright, we need to get really lucky in this game. We need them to stall on mana. There's 2. Alright, so this is a Fire Ice here. Not a Fire Ice, okay. Necromantia, actually interesting. Alright, so this is a Brazen Borrow is what it is. Got it. Okay. Stall on land, please. So our out here is to draw into engineered explosives. They didn't stall on lands. Evo. Evo does not accomplish anything. So take a hit for 10. Take a hit for 5. And then try to stabilize from there. I'm just trying to think, if I draw into EE, how do I... If I draw into EE, what happens? Like, I guess casting Necromantia doesn't really matter if I draw into EE. So I just... Like, do I just try to buy time? I think that was a mistake fetching there. So I think I'm probably just playing out this Wall of Roots. Yeah, that was stupid. That was stupid. Okay. Maybe Shieldred. Maybe Shieldred's how I get out of this. It's a big attack. We'll block 1. See if they have another. Down to 13. Okay. Let our wall survive now. Please. It's unfortunate. Okay. We need EE here. Not an EE. This is rough. This is really rough. So they're representing Fury, making that treasure token, which is likely going to be game over here. Yeah, we needed that wall to survive. Shieldred could have helped us stabilize there. Alright, Insect's going to die, sure. 12, they have 10 on board. I think they just hit me for 10. It's interesting they're swinging at Grist. I don't think they need to. I think the move here is just to swing at me with everything. So you're going to give me an extra turn if I draw an engineered explosives. Thoughtseize. Cool. Cool, cool. Alright, GG's to our opponent. They got us. 3-1. Right, everybody, we are 3-1. Match 4 of our modern challenge. We are playing against Pooping My Face X3. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. They have a 61 card deck. Of note, we are on the play, and we're going to take it, as we usually do. Opening 7, we like this. We will take it and run with it. Poop in my face with the 61 card special. Makes me think that we're playing against some sort of elementals deck, so we'll see. Just couldn't squeeze all those cards into 60, huh? We only have 1 black source as it stands, so it's something to be aware of. Elves? Is this elves? Whenever a creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power is greater than Pelt Collector's, put a 1/1 counter. Another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies. Interesting. Okay. Sure. You have a Pelt Collector. I'm just going to keep up this endurance and try to bait them into an attack here. We'll see if they do. Pelt Collector number 2. Power is not greater, so you do not get value off of that. Power is greater, you will get value off of that one. If an instant or sorcery card would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Okay. That doesn't affect us. Bringing the beats with the collector? Yeah, we'll gladly block that. I'm going to get a basic swamp here because we have the Avamaya. We can do that. Cast our endurance. Later Pelt Collector. This is a very strange deck to see in the 3-1 bracket here. I would like to block, please. That is a very profitable trade for us. And now Yawgmoth will come down. This kind of looks like they're on mono green, so I don't know that the... I wonder if we start by attacking with endurance. Maybe we'll do that. We'll hit for 4. As long as we got our Yawg in play next turn, we'll be able to go ham from there. There's a part of me that just wants to kill this Dried Militant right now, but I'm going to hold off just a moment. 3 mana. Attacking with the Collector and the Militant. Okay, I'll take the bait. I'll block the Militant. No, I'll just let this happen. I don't know what they're doing. We're gonna kill the Militant though. Just because I don't know what they're doing, I'm hesitant to do anything here. I'll sack the Endurance. I'll take it. I'll take the bait. See what you do. Alright, you're into a Court of Calling. Nice. So it's, I would imagine, game if we just get a Hapatra from here. Scavenging Ooze. Sure. Yeah, that's not going to be good enough. I'm really confused by this deck right now. Really, really confused. Marsh. Sure. The Vizier of Poisons would like to play. I'll start by killing the Scavenging Ooze. I have to imagine this is a scoop from here, right? Like, you're not beating this. That's pretty good. So I wonder if we just wait for a second and then chord during their turn. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chord, get Blood Artist, and then wipe their board from there. I think we're actually going to do that. I'm going to give them a moment. And if they want to eat more stuff, they're welcome to eat more stuff. And to my opponent, I recommend you scoop. Poop in my face. It's catchy. It's very catchy. We'll start by dumping down this Scavenging Ooze. It's just like mono green beatdown. Okay, you're welcome to eat stuff. You're just gonna further fuel my drawing. My friend, I don't think this is profitable for you. This is what we call a loop. Sure. Just give me free cards to draw here. Okay, they scoop. We're up a game against mono green, who knows what. We'll bring in a Go for the Throat, bring in a Fatal Push. Feels like Shieldred should be decent, as does Engineered Explosives. And then cards we will shave. I'll shave an Endurance. I think they're going to be afraid of that now. Grist. I'll shave a Wall of Roots or two. Maybe a Grist. We'll just go like this. Don't exactly know what they're doing. All we saw is Greenland. Alright. We are going to game 2, up a game. I like our 7. We will keep this. Opponent keeps their 7. We can take some damage off our lands early here. Hexdrinker, okay. Depending how big that gets, that could be problematic at some point, but we might just be able to combo before it gets to that point. Like if they just feed their mana into that. Okay, Scavenging Ooze is fine. Take it for 2, we'll go down to 16. So best draw from here is probably a Fatal Push and then into a land from there. Okay, that's pretty good too. Geist and a Hierarch. Okay, so we have Yawg next turn. So Yawg next turn will kill the Hexdrinker. If they attack with the Ooze, we'll just kill it from here. If they put this Hexdrinker up to 3, we'll be able to chump block it because they won't be able to Ooze. Okay, interesting. 4/1 Trample. Yeah, we'll take that. We'll go down to 11. Militant, sure. And now from here we can pretty much just wipe their board. We are going to be a little low on life, but we'll be able to manage. So I think we start with the Scavenging Ooze here. I suppose I could have attacked as well. Let them gain a life. We do want a land drop here. So this thing's not a human. Land? Not a land. So I can sacrifice the Geist and hope to draw land now. Or I can... Yeah, I think I have to wait, unfortunately. Life total's getting a little low, though. It's a little sketchy. Just because I don't know what they're doing, I am going to block here. Let's see if they have a pump spell. Okay, they don't. And it was good that I didn't sacrifice on my turn. They have 3 cards in hand. We are going to have to keep this Hydra on our radar, too. This does not have Trample, though, of note. We just need to pull lands. We can push the Hydra, too. When this dies... It says Trample, that's annoying. We can push it though, so that's fine. Start with the Wolf. Life total. When it dies, what happens? Yeah, this whole life total situation is not good. The fact we haven't pulled another land, very unfortunate. We know one of the cards in their hand is a Rancor. We just need to pull 1 land and we'll be okay, because we can get a Blood Artist at that point. I think we're going to get rid of an Evo. So we can swing with this layer for 4, which they're not doing. Scavenging Ooze. Okay. This gives us time. We're okay with this. Another chord. Oh my gosh. Why can't I find a land? Why not? Do I have Endurance in the deck still? I have 1, I think. 1 Endurance. think we might be in a situation where we're going to need to chump block this ooze, unfortunately. Maybe the move there was to play out the Geist. No, but if I start sacrificing... Oh, this is so brutal. I haven't found a land. 17 cards in. So they can eat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can eat 5. So this goes up to a 7/7. And then with the Rancor, that just represents lethal. I don't know if we're getting out of this one. I might need them to mess up here. I'm swinging with hopes that they block and they mess up. Okay, they don't block. So I think we're dead. This feels like a really good matchup though. Really unfortunate we didn't pull another land. Oh, I forgot about this thing. Oh, I should have killed the ooze there. That was stupid. That was dumb. I should have killed the ooze. Yeah, I had an out there. I messed it. Messed it up. I still would have died as long as they Rancor the right thing, but... Okay, I think this gives me an out here. I guess I shouldn't have attacked with the wolf, because I could have courted. I wasn't anticipating them taking this line. I'm not sure why they're not attacking with the ooze here as well. So I'm going to go down to 2. Vines of Vastwood. I don't think I have an out to that. Good to know about that, though. Okay, so there's like mono green Stompy. I think I'm going to bring Wall back in. I'm going to bring Grist back in on the play. I think I'm going to cut my Endurance. Vines is really good to know about, though. I think I can shave a wolf and bring in another wall. Oh, that's 61 cards. Oops. We'll shave a wall. We'll go with that. 60 cards. Okay, we're good. I have to imagine we're significantly favored on the play here. I don't know what our opponent's doing. Okay, we're on the play. Game 3. I like this 7. We'll keep it. No Yawgmoth, but we have Fatal Push. We have Young Wolf. So we have ways to interact. So if they have like a Scavenging Ooze, we'll be able to kill it, and then we can Grist on the following turn. They kept us 7. We'll start Fetch and get our Young Wolf in play. That'd be so crazy if we lost to this deck. Shouldn't think that way, but that would be crazy. I need to look at what the text is on Hex Drinker real quick, because it doesn't show you on Magic Online. +1 protection from instants. So level 3 is protection from instants, +8 is protection from everything. Got it. Got it. Forest, Hex Drinker. Okay. Yawg. So that's a good draw. I'm going to play out my Verdant Catacombs past the turn. So whatever their next creature is, if this is like a Scavenging Ooze, I'll shoot it down with a Fatal Push. And then I'll have Grist up next turn to kill this Hex Drinker. Pack Tactics. Okay, this is fine. We can deal with this. Can't imagine they're attacking with the Hex Drinker. Okay, feels like we're firmly in control here. Get a basic swamp. Push this guy. Okay. Gonna attack with this Young Wolf. Put them down to 19, then we'll get our Grist in play. If they have something like a Mutagenic Growth or something like that, that would be perfectly fine. I would be okay with that trade. They don't use anything like that. Basically just have to keep their board clear. So best draw for us next turn is going to be a land, so we can get our Yawg out. For which I don't think they have a way to deal with it. Pithing Needle, let's see if they name Grist here. Hopefully they do. Grist, Grist, Grist. Grist the Hunger Tide. Alright friend, name Grist. Them hesitating so much makes me believe they're going to name Yawgmoth. That's what my belief is. This deck they're playing is like a deck out of like 2001. Rancor, Treetop Village. It's like, what are you doing over there? They name Yawgmoth. Okay, that's unfortunate. There's the land we wanted. Alright, so we're going to plus our Grist here. And I wonder if in this situation I still just get the Yawgmoth in play, just because it's a blocker. I think I do. I'm going to hold back just so I have a way to... I can ensure that I can deal with this Treetop Village here. In case they like Rancor it up and try to kill my Grist. There's the village, sure. Rancor, there it is, cool. So that's what I was playing around. And we are going to kill this village. So I guess if they have a Mutagenic Growth, I'll block with everything, just in case. Opponent's figuring out how they want to assign damage. Now they're not going to have any creatures in play, so for us this is really, really good because we're going to tick our Grist up to 3, and then we'll have a board presence from there. They have nothing with haste as far as I know, so whatever they cast, we'll be able to deal with. Of course, we'd like to be able to get rid of this Pithing Needle, but for now it seems like things are relatively under control. My opponent just let me know their mouse is broken, so they can't click and drag to arrange the blocks differently. I don't know if they wanted Yawg to die there, but I don't know what to tell you there. Alright, we're going to attack for 4 here. Yawg, the beatdown plan. We're at 15, play out our Dryad Arbor, pass the turn. I think we have Shieldred in this deck, so we can always find that as a way to gain some life and stabilize the board a little bit more. Oh, they got Geist of their own. Interesting. So I imagine they Rancor that up. Sure. And we will throw some creatures in front of that. So if they have a way to pump this, that would be annoying. 3 goes down to 2. So we'll just do it like this. We'll keep our Grist alive. They get the Rancor back. Rancor is kind of a problem, huh? Kind of a problem. Alright, we got a Geist of our own, which is nice. Geist is nice. So make an insect here. Okay, and I'm going to swing for 4. There's a chance our Grist might be dying on the next turn if they have pump spells in hand, but might be priced into that. 5 mana. They're attacking into Grist. Alright, so I'm going to block like this. We'll see if they have a pump. Nope. We'll make that trade. Grist stays alive. Scavenging Ooze, okay. Scavenging Ooze is a little problematic. It's actually a lot problematic, especially with this Rancor they have in their hand. Alright, there's another Yawg, which is nice. Would have liked that Evo. And this might be the point where we let the Grist go, unfortunately. And then just hope to top deck into like a Tutor or another Grist. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. One of them's a Rancor. We know about that. Alright, there goes Grist. Alright, deck. I need something here. Okay, they play a Troll, sure. Okay. Okay. So that was a good draw. So I think we start... We're going to sacrifice an insect. Kill this Ooze. They have 1 card in hand. Oh, Vines of Astwood. That's a good one. Okay, so Grist is going to die again. Swing for 4. It's crazy this game is slipping away. This Pithing Needle. And we haven't seen a Tutor yet. We really, really need to see a Tutor. We have so many good draws from here. It's strange they're attacking into Grist. Like, we don't care about that. That's fine. Sure. Oh, it's so brutal. Having seen the Rancor game too, I guess I probably should have brought in the insect. This is really brutal though. So I'm not really in a position to block because they can just eat, or attack because they can eat my Ooze. Or eat my Geist with Ooze. We might just be dead here. Feels so bad losing to this deck. Yep. 10-8. So there are 2 more creatures in the graveyard right now. Another Geist, sure. So we'll beef up the Pelt Collector, sure. Alright, and they're just swinging with those 2. So if I kill this Troll, they just get another one next turn. But it has Trample, so I have to block it. I mean, it doesn't make sense for me to block it and not kill it, so I kind of have to at this point. Apparently their mouse is working again. Pelt Collector grows. Yeah, I think we lose this one. I think we lose it, unfortunately. How? I don't know, but we did. Alright, that's it. 3-2. That is brutal. There's a Chord. There's a Grist. Alright, match 6, Modern League. That was a very disappointing one that last round. We are going to be on the play against Danker. 3-2. Let's go. I was giving more thought to that last match, and I think if I were to do that again, I would have boarded very differently. But I think that's kind of the advantage you have when nobody knows what you're playing. But by game 3, I should have boarded in. I should have had Endurances for those Rancors. I should have had Haywire Might for Rancor as well. Tramplers are problematic for us. Opponent keeps a 7-card hand. Our hand's pretty solid, so we'll keep this. A little disappointing. We're probably not top 8ing today, but you know, what are you going to do when you get run over by Rancor? I've seen this person's name before. I'm not sure what they're playing, but we will see momentarily. Steam Vents. Okay, so this might be Murktide. Bolt. Okay. Feels like Murktide. So we do want to pull a land here at some point. Play out our Yawgmoth. Not exactly the curve we were looking for. Having that ignoble would have been very nice, but I suppose if we don't hit our 3rd land drop, we can cord and get our Dryad Arbor. This feels like a shredder. Alright, Dragon's Rage. Sure. Okay, that was really good. So we're going to start with an attack. Could be a little risky. 1, 2. If they would consider, they could potentially kill my Yawgmoth here. I am aware of that. Yes. Grist, and I think I'm going to uptick Grist here. Okay, it's interesting they didn't do that during combat because they could have potentially filled their graveyard for Delirium. Okay, we put a Geist into our graveyard. So we can Evo our Wolf into an Endurance next turn, depending, potentially. There's a Ragavan, sure. If this is all they're doing, this will be good for us. No attack. Okay. So we have a Hierarch. They have 4 cards in hand. We do have to play around something like a Spell Pierce. I do need to think about this a little bit. So like the hope is, I think, Endurance. It's kind of what we're looking for, but we can't do it right now. We have to wait. So we're going to Endurance during their turn. Unless they fetch and try to kill this Hierarch. They don't. Okay. 4 land, 4 cards in hand. Okay. We're kind of in a holding pattern right now. But I think I'm going to cord right now. Green, green. Done. See if we can get an Endurance into play. The fetching. Okay, 2 counter spells in the graveyard. I'll keep a card on top. We draw land. So we have 2 options from here. I can Evo the Wolf into an Endurance and have mana up for Spell Pierce. Or I can just play this Yawg into counterspell mana. They've already got 2 counterspells in the graveyard. So I'm gonna place my bets that they don't have another counterspell. There goes 1 Endurance to the graveyard. Alright, I'll play out the Yawgfather. Do you have another counterspell? And they scoop. Okay, we're up a game. Up 1. Alright, boarding for Murktide. Fatal Push, go for the throat. Veil of Summer, 2 Endurance, and 2 Thoughtseize. We're going to board out Hierarchs, Evos, and Blood Artist. Game 2. Alright, game 2. Oof, oof, oof. So it takes a lot of discipline to mulligan this hand. I think I'm gonna bank on us getting lucky and pulling a 2nd land off the top. It might be just shipping this game if we don't get a 2nd land in our first 2 draw steps, but we're gonna take our chances. Consider. This is an interesting line on turn 1. Very interesting. Okay, we got our 2nd land. So I'm actually gonna lead. I think I'm actually gonna lead on the Thoughtseize here. Iteration, Shredder, Heat Bolt. I think I'm going to take one of the iterations. Like, I see that Shredder is their only threat, but they already have 5 card types in the graveyard. Kind of crazy. So I'm just going to play out my Geist on this turn. Okay, that might actually change things a little bit. So I think I'm going to go Hierarch into Thoughtseize. And the reason I'm sequencing this way is because they will get to draw an extra card. We're going to be on a pretty quick clock here, though. They get rid of Bolt. And they have Bolt, Heat, and Shredder. Get rid of the iteration. So it appears they just run out of gas. And they might even just like fire Bolt at face just to try to like smooth out their draw a little bit. There's the Flooded Strand we knew about. I wonder if I think they're debating which removal spell they want to use here. There's the Bolt. I think that's the right move. Drew into a Bobble. Pretty good. They have 1 card in hand. We know what it is. Let's see if they discard it. They do. So that's actually good for us. They look at our top card. Alright, if this is a Murktide, we're in trouble. And that's what it feels like. Okay, not a Murktide. Good for us. Land drop. Go for the throat. Okay. Okay, we'll take that. I'll play out a Wall Roots. And I'll play out a Birds of Paradise. Once again, they'll be conniving again, smoothing out those land drops, smoothing out those draw steps, I mean. So they've got 2 cards in hand. They're going to be waiting for this go for the throat. They know about it. It would have been a good one for them not to know about. We're going down to 8. Pretty quick tempo here. They have 3 cards in hand. Land untapped. Again, this is a Murktide, and they have Counterspell up. Pretty bad for us. So if we draw like Veil of Summer, that would be good. Hapatra, not really what we want. So likely just dead from here. I'm actually going to lead Hapatra here because this allows us to go wider. And during their upkeep, I'm going to try to shoot down this Murktide. This is interesting. So this leaves us... That was a really interesting play on their part. I guess if their last card is Lightning Bolt. Counterspell. Really strange sequence there. I mean, we could just be dead though. Take 5. We're going to go down to 3. See if they have a Bolt. Yeah. Could have showed that to me first. I would have scooped. Alright, game 3. I think we keep our same 60 and we submit. No changes. Alright, game 3. Round 6. Tournament on the line here. I like this hand. We'll keep it. Lead on a basic here. With a hand like this, we do have to be careful about like dress down into Brotherhood's End or dress down into Fury. They fetch 2 cards in the graveyard. Interesting they're doing the fetch right now. They're giving me information, which is strange. Court of Calling, not bad. Okay, so we're going to leave with an attack for 1. I also could just hold this back and then Court EOT and get my Dryad Arbor. Yeah, I think I like that better. We're going to shock here. So if they want to play out something like a Shredder, we'll have an out to that, which they're not going to play because they would have sequenced differently. 2 mana up, they fetch. Not sure what they're playing here. Nothing. Taking some very strange lines over there. Land drop. We got our land drop. Okay, we're in business. I'm going to swing with our team. Start pressuring their life total. We'll see what they do from here. If they want to consider EOT, that would be great. Yes. We're going to Endurance in response. Alright, pretty good shape right now, I think. For the time being. Turn 3, I'll yield through the turn. Nothing going on here. Iteration to lead the turn, I'm guessing. Not an iteration. Okay, and from here, I'm just going to start with an attack. And I'm not going to play anything out here. I don't want them to put cards in their graveyard. Like the onus is on them to do something. I really don't have to add more to the board here. Land tapped, sure. Another chord, sure. We're just going to keep doing this. I'm okay with that. Attack. 6 them. They have like a dress down into a bolt. And then we'll get our grist into play. Sure. Take 5. You're down to 4. Pass turn. Patience. Patience is a virtue. Iteration, sure. Don't think that's going to be good enough. We also have Yawg up if they do tap out. I think they're probably going to scoop here though, if I had to guess. I think we just have too much on the board for them to be able to contest with. Thinking. Dragon's Rage, sure. Still not enough. We can minus this grist here. So their line, what it might be to heat the grist and hope to hit a 4th card type. Might be what they're forced into doing. They're not really in a position to use this fetch land either. Quite a predicament. Quite a predicament. Okay, so they got that. Okay, and I think that's just going to be lethal from here. I don't think they'll be able to do anything about this one, unless they have a spell snare. Yeah, so we can afford to sacrifice this guys because if they fetch, we still have lethal, and they lose. 4-2. All right, we are back. Final round of our Modern Challenge. So round 7. Currently 4-2, playing against Jesse_Samick. We are on the play. We're going to take it. See how this one goes. This is going to determine whether or not today is a success or a failure. We have a shot at top 16, I think. I don't think we're in contention for top 8 at this point with our breakers. Opening 7. Can't keep this. We'll mulligan. 6-card hand is very acceptable, so we will keep this. And I actually think, because I see a Giganth on the other side of the board, I actually think I'm going to send back one of these dorks as opposed to one of the grists, just because these are likely bolt fodder, so opponent is deciding what to do with their hand. I think grist is just depending on what we're playing against, probably just a more valuable card than a dork. Oh, I just screwed up that, didn't I? I did. Let's make that a little smaller again. Okay. Sorry. Opponent mulligans to 6. We'll keep our 6. And because I see a Gigantha, I'm actually going to send back the Ignoble as opposed to the bird. Okay, our opponent keeps their 6-card hand, and we're off. Round 7. Fight. Birds of Paradise. Pass the turn. Opponent should have a pretty good idea what we're doing at this point. Bobble. Okay, so this is likely Breach for the second time today. Could also be Prowess. Spire Bluff and Pass. Do they look at our top card? Whose top card do they look at? They targeted themselves. That's interesting. All right, we're gonna get a grist out. Start the value train. No Spell Pierce here. They're gonna consider. Okay, so this is Breach. Breach again. They keep their top card. Geist goes to the graveyard. 2 card types in their graveyard. So they'll probably get a fetch land, and then if they can get one more, we'll see if they get the heat down. Ragavan. Land. Sure. NBD there. 5 cards in hand. Tried Arbor, not great. So for us, I think we're going to lead with an attack with this insect. No, actually we can't do that. And the reason we can't do that is because that gives them Delirium. So we can't risk that. Eldritch Evolution goes to the graveyard. Not great. We're going to play out a Wall of Roots. If they have a Spell Snare here, they'll get us. Hallowed Fountain untapped. They do have Spell Snare. Interesting. Okay. I'll play out our Peatland and pass the turn. Wasn't expecting that one. Still 3 card types. 2 iteration, sure. And now depending on what they do, I might draw a card with this Peatland. We'll see. We shall see. At this point, of course, we want to find our namesake. Endurance is also pretty good. And Holy Heat here. They're going to have 4 card types. We'll see if they have a land, though. Okay, Jesse has the land. He's going to heat our Grist. Sure. Can't imagine they're attacking. Yielded through the turn just because we kind of have our play set up for this turn. Okay, we drew another land. So I will play out a... Okay, so we kind of just telegraphed what we're doing there. Okay, so I'm going to attack with 1 insect. Put them down to 14. Play out another Grist. I think we plus the Grist, and then I'm going to play out the Mire. And I will be drawing a card with this Peatland EOT. 1-2. Shredder, sure. Bobble, sure. And now if they can get rid of this Grist, we might be in a little bit of trouble. That might be problematic. Put a card into the graveyard. They look at their top cards. They have a fetch land in hand, it seems. There's the fetch. So little details where you can kind of deduce what's going on. Imagining no attack with the Ragavan. And we'll draw a card here. Our mana is pretty good at this point, so we can afford to do this. All right, Hapatra, not anything special. Okay, they fetch here. Land. Consider. This is strange, their sequencing here. The timing on this. Okay, I understand why they're doing this. I think they're looking for a double spell again with this Shredder. Okay, and this is going to be another Bolt. Interesting. Bolt on our bird. Surprising they're not going for the Grist here. Okay, we'll let that happen. They have 2 cards in hand. Drew into a Wall of Roots. So I think we start by probably dumping down the Shredder. Shredder's kind of, like, it's annoying, but it's not super urgent though. I think we have to get rid of it. It just gives them too much card advantage, or too much card selection. And from here, like, the thing is, I want to double spell this turn, so I don't want them to have kind of telegraphs my hand here, but yeah, we'll attack with both insects. Put them down to 11. And now it's kind of the situation where if they have a breach, we're in pretty big trouble because they'll draw about 5 cards off of it. There's another Bobble. They look at their top cards. They have another fetch land, so this is good for us. And nothing from there. Interesting. They'll draw a card off this Bobble. All right, deck. Yawgmoth would be nice. Unholy Heat. Okay. Yawgmoth. Okay, that's a Yawgmoth. We'll take that. Okay, they have one card in hand. I'm likely going to be sacrificing the Dryad Arbor here, so I think we're okay with this. Here's Yawg. Okay, they fetch. We'll draw a card here. Hapatra will make a token. We're going to attack. And then after damage, we'll put a counter on an insect to get another untapped snake. Yes. And now we're going to take a point. Okay, so that pretty much gives us infinite at this point. I'm going to play out my Yavimaya, play out the Young Wolf. Oh, please don't misclick. Sacrifice the Young Wolf, we'll draw a card. Just need to make sure we stay out of bolt range here. As long as we can find an Endurance or a Court of Calling, we will be good. Okay, so I'm going to play both of these out, and I'm going to pass the turn from here. Just try to keep my life total high enough. Okay, here's the Breach. So I think I let this happen, and we'll see what they do from here. So I'm going to start by heating Yawg. I'm going to respond, targeting my Young Wolf here. And we're just going to go super wide and just try not to die. Another Young Wolf. 10. I think I'm going to stay at 10. I don't think I'm going to put myself lower than that, just because intervals of 3, I just don't want to get bolted out of the game. I think it's very unlikely that we do, but I don't want to expose myself to that. Consider, sure. Make scooped. Okay. I wonder if they have a combo kill in here, something like a Grape Shot. Next card was Court of Calling. Okay. So in this matchup, for the second time today, going to bring in our Graveyard Hate, going to bring in our Might. I think just that. Going to board out some Hierarchs. And maybe a Grist, maybe a Cord. I think probably a Cord. Innkeeper's not great either, but I think it's fine. Shieldry can put in some work, but it's like 4 mana trading for 1 mana without Holy Heat doesn't feel good. I think we'll shave down a Geist as well. Do I like that? Endurance, Might, push, go for the throat. Maybe I shave a Grist. Grist is less important in this matchup than it is against Murktide, because they don't have Murktides. So I think I'm shaving a Grist here. View sideboard. Oof, this opening hand not very good. I think we're going to be mulliganing this one. They keep a 7. We'll mulligan to 6. Alright, we like our 6 much better. We'll keep this. And I think we're going to ship Court of Calling? Yeah, we'll go with this. Hoping they don't have another Spell Snare. That would be annoying. Turn 1 Basic Mountain. Strange. And we have a turn 1... we have a Beseiju, which is nice. So I'm telegraphing that I have a bird here, but I actually think I'm going to hold it. Just because they likely have a bolt, and this is fodder for our endurance, so I'm not gonna play into that right now. I'll make them use it on their turn. This also saves me a point of life because I'll be able to fetch and not shock, so that's also a consideration here. Alright, there's a Shredder. Yield until the end step. Fetch. Tapped. Court of Calling. So we drew that back. We had that in our opener. There's our Geist, and we have Yawg next turn. We will not be attacking. Yawg next turn if we want it. We'll see what they do. This feels like an iteration. Metamorphose. Okay. Okay, I see you over there, Jesse. Doing fancy things. You fancy. Okay, there's the iteration. They get their trigger. Dragon's Rage in the graveyard. 3 card types. Ba bing ba boom. 3 card types. Just like that. And this will be the 4th, so they'll have Delirium at this point. So our line here, what we're shooting for, is to Evo, get ourselves a Yawgmoth, and then when they try to heat the Yawg, we are going to Endurance, shuffle their graveyard, and put a counter on the Geist for massive trickery. Massive trickery. And then we will be victorious, and we will be happy with our performance. That's my game plan. Red source, got it. Okay, that one we're okay with. So this is shaping up well for us. They have 5 cards. And best case scenario, I would love to draw another land. And there it is. There it is. A nice little land that doesn't deal us damage here. So we're going to Evo this guy away right now. Get ourselves a Yawg. And then from here, I'm actually going to dump this bird. Shredder, they'll get a trigger off that. And we're going to pull some shenanigans before this this Dragon's Rage gets to do stuff. and we'll draw 2 cards. And Dragon's Rage will be dead. And they'll have no graveyard. So we will target you, Jesse. I would like to minus targeting my Geist, and I would like to minus targeting your Dragon's Rage. Alright, so we got the combo next turn, as long as we get the opportunity, and we'll swing for 3. Alright, will we have the opportunity is the question. Can Jesse kill our Yawgmoth? Iteration. This feels good for us. So I suppose they go fetch land, that's 3 card types, into like a heat, and then they have to hit a card off of the Shredder, a card type, which I'm imagining they probably have in their hand. So I'm guessing Yawg will probably die here. But I think they'll be tapped out to do that, and then we'll be able to do something from there. They're down to 9. Okay. So they only have 2 card types, so they didn't hit a fetch land, which is not good for them. I need to make sure I am not yielded through the turn. Bolt. Okay, you can connive. Licensed Hearse. So this is going to be the 4th card type here, so that's unfortunate. Yeah, so if they have a heat, they will get our Yawg here. Alright, we drew another one. Cool. Cool, cool. There's the heat. Okay. They have 4 cards in hand. Take a hit for 2. Alright, so from here, I wonder... They don't really have much going on in their graveyard, but if they have... No, I think we just get the Yawg out. I think that's what we do. We'll go down to 10. And then once again, we're going to try to kill next turn. Like if they have heat in their, like if they have Breach, they're going to have to exile 3 cards to be able to recast a heat. And that might take them off of Delirium if they do that. All right, there's a Bobble. Bobble's pretty good. So it's a very close game here. See if they bolster both of these Shredders. They do only get 1. They look at their own top cards. They have a fetch land again. There it is. Take a hit for 3, we'll go down to 7. They have 2 cards in hand. Alright, what do we draw? They draw a card. They like their card. We draw a fetch land. Okay, how do we get ourselves out of this situation? Fetch land represents Dryad Arbor. Do we have lethal? Do we have lethal? So, Dryad Arbor, Young Wolf, Blood Artist, 6 life. 6 life is kind of risky. We can also just cord and get ourselves like a bird or an endurance. Maybe that's the line. And just like have blockers back and then try to kill on the following turn. But if they have double bolt, we'll just lose from there. Very, very tricky turn. So I think there's no downside to us playing out the Heath. So I think we start there. And I think we play out our Young Wolf. Okay, and then from here, I think we're going to attack with Yawg. No, I don't think we're going to attack with Yawg. And the reason being is I might need to cord for... Let's see what they do from here. Consider. Okay. Put 1 card on top. Sure. And if they cast out like a Breach pre-combat, that will be really good for us. And they do. Okay, so we got 2 lines here. We can Besage this down, which will put us at a very low life total. I think we have to move now. We're gonna get our Dryad Arbor. We're gonna cord and hope they don't have like a Spell Pierce. And they do. Either Gust. Okay, and this is gonna be game. We'll scoop it up. Okay, moving on. Game 3. I like our chances on the play. I wonder if we bring in another Grist on the play and shave a Young Wolf. I think so. Let's go. This matchup's always very interesting. Our opponent played that very well too, so shout out to Jesse. Good games so far. Alright, game 3, we are back. We are going to be on the play, and we will take it. Hopefully we can keep a 7-card hand. Okay, we can keep this. Opponent reveals a Gigantha. My hope is that our opponent does not have a Spell Snare, because that will mess up our plans if they do. But if they don't, we have the potential for a turn 3 Yawg here. Alright, no Spell Snare. That's good. So we'll get our Innkeeper in turn 2. Or we got our Geist. I think we just get our Innkeeper down. And we have to shock here, unfortunately. I'm gonna swing for 1. So Innkeeper represents a couple of different things. It represents Grist and it represents Yawg next turn. So the threat of that is very relevant. The Unboltable Mana Dork here. Second Dragon's Rage. Okay, they're going to fill up their graveyard very quickly here. They're going to get rid of our Yawgmoth, which is a little unfortunate. Alright, they have 3 card types. Alright, they have 4 card types on turn 2. That's brutal. Brutal. We need to find ourselves an Endurance. Twilight Mirror. Okay, so that gives us Yawg. And the only problem is if they have a Unholy Heat that just completely shuts us out. Alright, so we'll gain a life off the Innkeeper and we're just gonna pass turn here. The reason I'm doing this, I want them to swing into the Grist, which will buy us an extra turn, and then will give us some fodder for Yawgmoth next turn. So hoping they do that. And if not, if they do something like Prismatic Ending on Grist, the hope is we draw into a land, so we can go Geist, gain a life, Grist, minus, kill one of the Channelers, gain another life, and then they'll be stuck with 1 Channeler, and then we'll be able to resolve a Yawg on the following turn. 3rd Channeler, that's brutal. Alright, so we really need to find ourselves an Endurance here. And they might just attack into me, to be honest. 1 at Grist, 2 at Grist, okay. And they're holding up 2 mana, which to me represents a Aether Gust, which they cannot target Yawg with. So 3 cards here. Hapatra. So we can go Hapatra and Geist. No, but then we can't Yawg next turn. I think we just have to get Yawg into play. And then we're gonna have to pull an Endurance off the top. Bolt, target, our Innkeeper. Makes sense. Alright, Endurance 1 time. So if this is a heat, it is a heat. That's brutal. So maybe I should have waited there. It might cost me. Not an Endurance. Okay, probably just dead here. If they have an Aether Gust in hand, like, we're just dead to rights. And if they don't, we're pretty close to dead. 3 mana, Gigantha, sure. Okay, no Aether Gust. They have 2 cards in hand. Take a hit for 8, we'll go down to 5. Endurance. Alright, do we have an out from here? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, we need an Endurance there. GG's to our opponent. Not much we can do there. I mean, the only line of play in that game where I think I could have done things differently was that last turn where I sacked. But they had me on the back foot. I kind of have to make a move at that point. Alright, so we finished with an abysmal 4-3 record after a 3-0 start. I don't know what to say about that performance. I think the matchup against Rhinos, I don't think there's too much we can do in that instance. I think we just got run over. The matchup against the mono green Stompy that we lost, partially a lack of familiarity with what they were doing, and I think if I were to do that over again, I would definitely be boarding differently, as I had alluded to earlier in this video. The last match, we just kind of got run over in that game 3. We didn't have an Endurance, which was the card we needed, and yeah, we just weren't able to contest with what they were doing. Their graveyard went unchecked. They had turn 2 Delirium, 3 Dragon's Rage Channelers, and we just got swarmed with those 3. So our 3 losses, I think one of them we probably could have done something about. The other 2, I don't really know that we could have done too much differently to have won those matches. So, you know, it's just kind of the way the cards fall. You win some, you lose some. And a little unfortunate after a strong start to today's challenge. I think we'll probably be in the top 32 if I had to guess. I'm hoping, so I can at least get some pity points for that performance. But if not, you know, it is what it is. I'm not particularly excited about how I performed today from a record standpoint. In terms of the deck list, honestly, I don't think I really changed anything. The only card that's kind of on the cusp of being cut here is a Veil of Summer, I think. Something I am thinking about. And then above and beyond that, I don't know, I might tweak little things here and there, but I don't think there's too much that needs to be changed. If you're expecting a lot of Rhinos and other engineered explosives, I think is reasonable. That would be pretty much the only thing I would do differently, I think. Everything else, I kind of like the way it's situated and the way it's built. I don't think much needs to be changed. So, yeah, I would say if you have an event and you want to play something like this, I think it's a strong choice. and then yeah, we just kind of got run over in our 3 matches that we lost. So, something of note, Zerk ran a list yesterday and was running a 3rd removal spell. And maybe that's something we would want to consider in our sideboard, instead of something like Veil of Summer, just having another option in terms of a card to remove a creature, because that was how we lost all 3 of our matches. We got run over. So something to think about. I am checking out. Thank you for joining me for the day. I don't really have anything else to say, actually. So thank you. Thank you for joining me. I will see you all next time. Everybody, you know the deal. Please be well.